There's something we do without realizing it, a silent, almost automatic habit that has infiltrated our way of speaking, thinking, and living. We repeat it so many times a day that we don't even notice its presence. But the truth is, it's sabotaging our energy, blocking our opportunities, and keeping us trapped in a spiral of frustration. It's not something obvious. It's not a big mistake or a disastrous action. It's something subtle, everyday, normalized. But what many don't know is that every time we do it, we're sending a message to the universe, programming our mind for self-sabotage, and limiting our potential. I'm talking about complaining. From the moment we wake up, we face small situations that could trigger a complaint. The weather, traffic, the news, noise, work, people. There's always something that's not how we want it. And without realizing it, we let out a sigh of annoyance, a sarcastic comment, a criticism disguised as an observation. We do it without thinking. It seems harmless. But have you ever wondered what really happens when you complain? Every word we speak, every emotion we cultivate, has an impact on our reality. Ancient spiritual traditions already knew this. From Eastern wisdom to modern metaphysics, it's been repeated over and over. The energy we emit is the energy we receive. Science confirms it. Recent neuroscience studies have shown that our mind is shaped through repetition. The more we complain, the easier it becomes for our brain to focus on the negative. It's like a muscle we train without realizing it. Every complaint reinforces a mental pattern, a neural pathway that programs us to keep finding flaws in everything. And it doesn't just affect our perception, it affects our body too. Every time we complain, we activate the stress response system. Cortisol levels rise, our defenses drop, our mind enters a constant state of fight. And this has consequences: anxiety, fatigue, irritability. The worst part is we don't even realize we're creating our own emotional prison. But here's the most shocking thing. We're not just affecting our own mental and physical state, we're also shaping our external reality. Because everything in the universe is energy, vibration. What we emit, we receive. If we're constantly projecting dissatisfaction, attracting frustration, what do you think life will give us back? It's no coincidence that when a person complains a lot, they always seem to have more reasons to keep complaining. It's a cycle, a pattern, a reflection of the energy they've chosen to sustain. But here's the key question. What can we do about it? Because saying stop complaining doesn't work. It's not about pretending everything's fine or ignoring problems. It's about how to redirect that energy, how to use it to our advantage instead of letting it drag us down. And this is where the transformation begins. Because a complaint at its core is a signal, a message. It's telling us something about ourselves, about what bothers us, about what we haven't resolved. Instead of seeing it as an enemy, we can learn to listen to it differently. Every time you catch yourself complaining, stop for a moment. Ask yourself, what's really bothering me about this situation? Is it the traffic or my lack of patience? Is it the job or my fear of not moving forward? Is it someone's attitude or my need to set boundaries? If instead of repeating the complaint, you focus on understanding its source, something changes. The cycle breaks. You go from being a victim of circumstances to being aware of your energy. And awareness is the first step toward change. Leave me a comment if you've ever felt like you complain too much but don't know how to stop. Has it happened to you that you realize you're always upset about the same thing? I want to know if this message is resonating with you. But this is just the beginning, because once we identify the pattern, we can do something much more powerful, transform it. And in the next part of this video, we'll talk about how to turn complaining into an energy that actually propels you forward. Because if you keep doing the same thing, you'll keep getting the same results. But if you change the way you express yourself, you'll change the way the world responds to you. So if you want to know how to free yourself from this habit and start raising your vibration, stay until the end. What's coming could radically change the way you experience your life. If you haven't already, subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because what you're about to learn isn't just information. It's a tool that can transform your reality. And if you know someone who's always trapped in complaining, send them this video. Sometimes a single message can open a new perspective. Leave me a comment. Have you ever felt like negativity repeats in your life? Have you noticed the same uncomfortable situations popping up again and again? I want to know what you think because in the next part, we'll dive deep into how to change this from the root. Want to find out how to reprogram your mind to break free from complaining and enter a state of clarity and action? Keep watching because what's coming is even more revealing. Most people think complaining is a way to vent, a simple act with no consequences. But in reality, every complaint is an anchor, a weight that keeps us tied to the same vibration we're trying to escape. Because here's the big truth. What we repeat, we reinforce. Every time we complain about something, we're not freeing ourselves from it. We're giving it more power in our lives. We're telling our mind, this is important. And since the mind is designed to look for patterns, it'll keep showing us more reasons to complain. And this is dangerous because what starts as a simple observation can become a mental state, and a mental state becomes a lifestyle. Here's where we get to the core of the problem. Because complaining doesn't just shape our energy, it also shapes our relationships, our opportunities, and the way others perceive us. Think about this. Who would you rather have around? Someone who always finds a reason to be upset, frustrated, tired, or someone who, despite challenges, finds a way to move forward, to learn, to grow? Energy is contagious. And if our vibration is stuck in complaining, we don't just affect ourselves, we also affect the quality of the connections we create. But here's the most fascinating thing. Just as we've trained our mind to complain, we can train it to focus on what really serves us. And no, it's not about ignoring reality or faking happiness. It's about reprogramming our energy to stop feeding what drains us and start feeding what drives us. Want to know how to do it? Here are 3 powerful strategies you can apply starting today. The first is conscious reframing. Every time you feel the urge to complain, stop and turn it into an empowering affirmation. It's not about saying, everything's fine, when it clearly isn't. It's about directing your focus to a perspective that helps you act instead of just react. For example, instead of, I hate this job, say, I'm in the process of finding something better. Instead of, everything goes wrong for me, say, I'm learning from every experience. Instead of, no one understands me, say, I'm seeking people who vibe on my same wavelength. It's a subtle but powerful shift because the way we speak defines the way we think, and the way we think defines the way we live. Leave me a comment with a complaint you tend to repeat, and we'll transform it together into an affirmation that helps you shift your energy. The second strategy is creating a system of active gratitude, because gratitude is the vibration opposite to complaining. And this isn't just a nice phrase, it's an energetic principle. When you focus on what you already have instead of what's missing, your energy field changes. Your perception changes. And when your perception changes, you start attracting new opportunities. Here's a simple but extremely effective exercise. Every night before bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for. And don't repeat the same ones every day. Look for something new. It could be small. Today, someone smiled at me on the street. I enjoyed a meal I really liked. I had a moment of calm to myself. When you practice this consistently, something incredible happens. Your mind starts training itself to find the positive naturally, and when that happens, complaining loses its power over you. Now, if you feel complaining is too ingrained in your life, the third strategy will be key for you. Filter your environment. The energy of the people you interact with most directly influences your own vibration. If you're surrounded by people who constantly complain, you'll likely do it too without realizing it. So ask yourself this: do the 5 people I spend the most time with lift me up or drain me? If you feel most conversations revolve around problems, criticism, and complaints, it's time to make adjustments. It doesn't mean you have to cut ties, but you can set boundaries. When someone starts complaining, instead of joining in, ask a powerful question. And what do you plan to do about it? How could you change that situation? By doing this, you not only avoid absorbing that energy, but you invite the other person to break the complaining pattern and move toward action. If we've spent years training our mind to focus on the negative, we can't expect to change overnight. But here's the key. We don't need a drastic change to transform our reality. We just need small, consistent adjustments that, over time, completely reprogram our vibration. We've already talked about how complaining shapes our perception and how we can start replacing it with conscious affirmations, active gratitude, and a better choice of environment. But now we're going to take it a step further, because the real transformation happens when we not only eliminate complaining, but raise our vibration to the point where it simply has no place in our lives. And to achieve that, there are three practices that can mark a before and after. The first is observation without reaction. One of the biggest problems with complaining is that it traps us in an immediate reaction. Something happens and without thinking, we let out a complaint. But what if instead of reacting, we just observed? Here's a challenge. For the next 24 hours, instead of reacting immediately with a complaint, pause. Don't say anything. Don't express frustration. Just observe what you feel. For example, if someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of letting out an angry comment, just breathe and notice the sensation in your body. If the day doesn't go as expected, instead of complaining about the situation, observe how your mind automatically looks for a reason to get upset. This simple exercise breaks the automatic impulse to complain and gives you back control over your energy. It's training to learn to respond instead of react. Leave me a comment if you accept this challenge. I want to know how many of you are willing to take this step toward greater awareness. The second practice is energy transmutation. Ancient alchemy spoke of turning lead into gold, and this wasn't just a physical concept, but a symbol of internal transformation. We can do the same with complaining. Instead of seeing it as a problem, we can use it as a catalyst for change. Every time you feel the urge to complain, ask yourself, what action can I take to change this situation? If I can't change it, how can I shift my perception of it? What lesson can I draw from this? If we apply this mindset, complaining stops being an obstacle and becomes a teacher, a sign of which areas of our life need attention and transformation. If you constantly complain about a lack of time, instead of staying in that narrative, analyze how you're managing your priorities. If you complain about someone's behavior, ask yourself if you really need that person in your life or if you can set healthier boundaries. It's a shift from victim to creator, and when you apply it, the way you experience life changes completely. If you've ever had an experience where you turned a negative situation into something positive, tell me about it in the comments. I want to know how you applied this mindset in your life. And the third practice, perhaps the most powerful, is the vibration of gratitude in action. We already talked about active gratitude as a daily recognition exercise, but there's an even deeper way to live in this frequency. It's not enough to write 3 things you're grateful for. You have to feel it, express it, integrate it into every action of the day. Here's a challenge. For 1 week, instead of focusing on what's missing, focus on what's already present. When you wake up, instead of thinking about what you have to do, think about what you have. When you talk to someone, instead of focusing on the negative, find something positive to highlight. When you end the day, instead of complaining about what didn't go well, acknowledge what you did move forward on. And take it a step further. Express your gratitude out loud. Thank the people who do something good for you, no matter how small. Thank life, the universe, yourself. If something goes well, even if it's minor, celebrate it. Because gratitude isn't just an emotion, it's a frequency. And when you align with it, everything in your life starts moving in that direction. If you made it this far, it means something inside you is ready for a change. And I want you to declare it in the comments. Write, I choose to raise my vibration. If you feel this message has resonated with you, remember this. What we emit, we receive. If we fill our life with complaints, we'll reap more frustration. But if we sow gratitude, focus, and conscious action, life will give us back more of that. The choice is yours. You can stay trapped in the vibration of complaining, or you can make a change today. A change that, over time, will completely transform your reality. If this video brought you value, give it a like and subscribe, because here we keep exploring together how to raise our energy and create a life with purpose.